Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast here. Courtney here.
Derek here.
Babcock here.
Dylan here.
All right, we got a full slate of stories, guys. We got no Harvey to clump things up.
Yes. Working on a story. I'm sure.
Thank God.
Welcome, Dylan, everyone.
Yes,
Glad
your
to be here.
first time.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Hot.
You guys can use it.
Definitely
New
switched out
blood.
the old with the new.
We'll put him through his paces. So let's start off with what is the ongoing story of the last few weeks. This is more Joe Rogan, and we're now seeing it's a lot. So things are starting to take shape. Remember the whole controversy over the disinformation. Neil Young went after him. Several episodes of his Spotify podcast were taken down. Then he put out an apology video where he said, I'll try to add more balance. Well, now he's sort of clawing back a little bit. He's saying he put up that apology video, and then remember there was the N-word compilation. There was a NDRE posted a compilation of him over the last 14 years using the N-word, and it made him cringe. He apologized over that too. He didn't really want that. He didn't want to address that. It made him feel uncomfortable, and
he apologized immediately right after both of them.
He apologized after both of them. So this is the first time where he's sort of taking the claws out a little bit. So he said, "Look, I'm a victim of a political hit job," is what he calls it. And he says, "Look, he's now become this volleyball for this larger controversy, and someone went out there, made that compilation. He knew he had said those things, but obviously seeing them crammed together in a compilation is very different. And he's saying this is a hit job, and he is just the target of this hit job, this campaign to sort of take him down. And here's what he had to say about it.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, all this is a relief because it's just because that video had always been out there.
Right.
It's this is a political hit job. And
Yes.
so they're taking all this stuff that I've ever said that's wrong and smushing it all together.
Right.
But it's good because it makes me address some shit that I really wish wasn't out there.
And you know why I'm proud of you? Because I think comedians have for years done this immature thing where it's we don't apologize. We say whatever we want. You can apologize if you say some wild shit, and we've all said some wild shit, and you apologize and own that it's wrong. Good for you.
You should apologize if you regret something.
Yes.
This idea that you should never apologize.
Yes.
If you regret something, I don't think there's anything wrong with apologizing. But I do think you have to be very careful to not apologize for nonsense.
Correct.
You see Aquafina, she defended, I guess she didn't apologize. She sort of defended the way she talks.
Yes.
And they were saying that it was a black scent.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fascinating for me because now Joe Rogan's sort of carving out the terms on which he's going to apologize.
Right.
Because remember, if you apologize at all when you become a sort of a hero of the far right, you're supposed to be a First Amendment warrior. And he's saying, look, if I say something that I regret, I'm going to apologize. Right. I'm not your hero, and you're not going to bully me into this role that you want me to play. I'm going to apologize when I feel it's due, but I'm not going to apologize for nonsense.
Yeah, but it also sounds like he was just waiting for all these videos to come up and for his time to have to explain himself.
Yeah.
He knew that it was going to happen. He's kind of all right, it's here. I have to deal with it now.
The reality of that ugly video where he's continually said the N-word, that had been out for years and had, by the way, millions and millions of views. So people had
never
seen
in
that.
the media like this.
Look, he's now in that cycle.
I don't know where you guys stand on this. He is being targeted, and this is a coordinated attack at this point. I mean, is there any debate about that?
Well, there does seem to be a little bit of blood in the water, right? I mean, they sense a vulnerability with Joe Rogan given the style of his podcast, and they see that he's on his heels, apologizing, and there is some coordination to say let's finish him. This could be the finishing blow.
Why does Joe Rogan need to be finished though? Why is so much time and effort and energy being spent on a guy who is a podcast host?
And it seems like people are trying to get a rise out of Joe, trying to get him to stumble more, but he's apologizing, and he's very articulate with his apologizing.
I've always thought this is a little bit awkward for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is not Rush Limbaugh. Joe Rogan is not Alex Jones.
Do you know what? And
he's a different kind of character. So to tackle him in this way is strange.
No, and I think that's important because I think a lot of people think he is that, and it shows. And that a lot of his detractors, a lot of his haters think he is this far right crazy. He is anything but that. Joe Rogan last year, maybe year before, whenever, he said he would have voted for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
He is the most opposite you could be of far right.
And didn't he just do a stand-up in Austin this week, and he was talking about it, and he said, why are people taking medical advice from the host of Fear Factor?
Yeah.
And it's
first
why
and
are
foremost,
people
he's a
taking me so
comedian.
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
he was I don't know why.
He is reminding people that he's not a political pundit.
Right.
By going back on the stand-up stage, he is saying, remember, I am a comedian, and I'm a provocateur. I like to say things that are sort of controversial in a comedic context.
Right. Yeah.
What I think is great about what Mike said is look, he is all this spotlight is going to cause people to go and look actually at the Joe Rogan podcast and look at his stand-up, and you'll realize he's not those guys. He is not the arch far right Alex Jones. He's just a guy who sort of asks questions. He does lean a little bit right. He presses on things. But he's very different than the world has portrayed him to be, and the boogeyman that everyone thinks he might be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, another story that is not ending is Kanye West. This guy does
train
not
keeps
stop.
rolling, right?
The train just keep rolling. He was actually at LAX and he was taking a commercial flight, and it was so cool to see Kanye West go through TSA and have to take off his shoes. But then I also don't understand. Does he not have
in his full mask?
In his full mask. He did have to lift it up because you do have to show your identity.
Right, you got to show your face.
But does he not have TSA pre-check? That's what I don't understand. Like, why are you taking off your shoes? You don't have to if you have TSA pre-check, even if clear everything's closed.
This is a great point.
I don't understand. It bothers me so much. He travels
why was
so much.
he in the normie line?
I know. I don't get it, because even when all the lanes are closed, if you have TSA pre-check, you don't have to take off your shoes. So I was so baffled why he was taking them off, because they're rubber shoes. There's no metal
those
in them.
giant boots.
Yeah, no.
I feel like he was trying to make a point. Yes.
You get to walk through without taking them off in pre-check, and he's got to have pre-check. Maybe he flies private so much that he never went through and got pre-check.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen him once through the airport, and he gets to go through this special way, and he just appeared. He was honestly just
full mask.
No, it was 5 years ago, and he came out up these doors by the gate, and he didn't have to go through anything, and he had all these people with him.
Really?
So I feel like he's trying to make a statement, and I don't know what it is, but he's all. You guys,
I feel like he's trying to make a statement.
Because it's Kanye.
I don't
why
know
are
what
you
it is.
He makes a
flying
statement every time he steps out the
this?
door. Yeah, slowly rolling up his mask to reveal his identity.
As a lawyer, he's been posting all this.
We don't have a lawyer here, Dylan.
I'll do my best.
Well, I heard you're a lawyer. He's posting all this stuff, and he's will this come back up later down the road, when with divorce lawyers and custody?
It's a good point. I mean, these kind of things, the things he's posting probably won't impact the divorce. They're not about the property settlement. Right. They could go to the custody issues if they're trying to lay a pattern that he is somewhat unstable and maybe not good to be around the kids. Yes, everything you put out there could become evidence in that context. You certainly see this in the conservatorship context, where whatever Britney says and she puts out there to the world can be, used in some way because it's publicly available, and then you just attach it to a lawsuit and you say, look at these examples.
Right. But he's not giving up, because already 2 times this week he's already made a plea for Kim. He just posted recently because she was on the cover of Vogue, and he posted all the photos of their family and put the caption, God please bring our family back together. So he keeps pining for Kim and pining for her. And then at the Donda 2 listening party, he had a Kim a look like.
It's the roller coaster of him that is impossible to follow.
It never ends.
In some sense, he's doing everything like John Cusack in that movie, holding up the boombox, and then he's lashing out at her, yelling at her on social media.
But it's all, I think it all came from the same place.
He's exhausting to
follow. He loves her, and he's jealous, and
he can't control it anymore.
And he's hurt. Yeah.
Julia Fox didn't work, so he had to bring in a clone. So,
man. We're just seeing this all publicly play out
right now.
How about something happier? Go ahead.
Big news from the Wendy Williams show. Sherri Shepherd is going to be stepping in. We know Wendy Williams. She stepped away from the show back in October due to some medical conditions. Their plan is kind of unique. So Sherri Shepherd's going to come in as a guest host until September. So they kind of have this window of we're going to see what happens with Wendy until September. If by September, they're thinking of changing the name of the show entirely.
Now, I'm going to lean on you a little bit here, or you guys if you're also Wendy Williams. Does Sherri Shepherd bring the same energy to a show as Wendy Williams? Just the vibe of the personality. I think of them differently, but I don't know.
I think of them differently because Wendy Williams was her own personality. She had such a different way. Sherri Shepherd's great, but no, they're two different people.
Has Sherri been good on the shows that she has guest host? Because they've had a bunch of guest hosts, right? And now Sherri's going to be the permanent guest host.
Yeah. I love Sherri Shepherd.
I love Sherri Shepherd too.
She's always so nice when we get her on the street. She's amazing. But so is Wendy. And it's just sad to see Wendy go out this way because she was such a legend.
Yeah,
so it's you want her to
Who do you think was the best guest host then? If Sherri wasn't the one.
No. They were all good. That would be like me picking a Jeopardy host.
I'll go ahead and do that. I agree. It's sort of a sad way to not see Wendy Williams. She's sort of battling Graves' disease.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the last. Maybe she gets it under control and she comes back.
Right.
I mean, the show in Sherri Shepherd's hands will be a different show. The energy of the show will read. Sherri Shepherd's a little bit more I don't know, positive or upbeat.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a certain edge to Wendy Williams that I think the show will miss. This is different to me than Jeopardy, where everyone was like, oh, who's going to be the host? Who can fill Alex's shoes? At the end of the day, you're reading questions. And I love the show as much as anyone else, but like
this is
anyone
very
questions.
personality dependent.
This is personality driven. So it'll be a different transition.
Yeah.
This is exciting for Sherri. I love
It's
her.
very exciting. But what an opportunity, right?
Great opportunity for
I mean, to get a daily show, it's incredible.
It's big.
Yeah, and like you said, we love Sherri Shepherd. So I hope the best for her. But I don't think it's the last you've heard of Wendy. Because once you see someone fill in for you and she starts watching episodes at home while she's maybe you start to be like,
I could do that better.
Yeah, I got to get back in there. Yeah, that's my baby.
Right.
So let's move on. Let's move on a little bit to Senator Thune and Bill Maher. So. Bill Maher,
it's so weird to talk about Bill Maher without Harvey here. I'm like just like waiting for him to like come in somewhere.
So everyone knows Harvey is a big fan of Bill Maher. He loves the show. He warms up his popcorn on Friday nights. Right before he's tucked in at 9 p.m. He watches his Bill Maher.
He does like a countdown.
Yes, he does.
Countdown.
4 hours to Bill Maher.
The next episode right after the other one airs.
And I love Bill Maher as well. I think he is a great voice to have out there. He's a very provocative, very thoughtful guy to have sort of guiding us through these very strange political times. So we get Senator John Thune out and we ask, hey, Bill Maher for president. Should he run? Should he run? Now, Bill Maher is a character who's been around. He's been on Politically Incorrect for years.
Right.
He's got a lot of baggage, I guess you could say. And he's very open about his libertine sexual ways, his pot smoking. So he'd be an interesting candidate because it's all out there. You don't have to find skeletons with Bill Maher. He wears that. His skeletons are on him.
He'll tell you.
Bill Maher? Yeah. A lot of people think that,
it's a free country. He wants to run, he should. I think the country is more acceptant now, too, of people who haven't lived their lives in politics, that come from different backgrounds, and they're, people kind of they like celebrities, too. So, but it's a tough business, so.
We're having more celebrities run and win. Now, always Ronald Reagan was an actor before he became a politician. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger here. We've got Donald Trump.
Just completely.
So, the transformation's complete. Bill Maher would be a big name. He's automatically in the running just because
he's been around politics, whereas Donald Trump hadn't been. So you could argue he's much more
well want to do it?
Well, he's had a successful show. Maybe he wants to try something new, and he's got stances.
Everyone has aspirations. Everyone has an ego. It's the most powerful position in the world.
Now we see this more though on the right than the left. Right? You see the Donald Trumps, you see Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you see Ronald Reagan. The big three examples. They're all Republicans.
Jesse Ventura.
You sometimes have the independents in that realm. But it'll be interesting to see. We've never had. Everyone's talked about Oprah every election cycle. She's never done it.
No.
I don't think Bill Maher will do it because there's sort of from the left there's a sense of we should have the professionals who know what they're doing do things, whereas on the right sometimes they're like, hey, I can do it.
He's made some enemies in the Democratic Party now.
A lot. Just speak on it.
He has a lot. I think a lot of people feel like he has moved right. I don't think that's the case. I think Bill Maher has been where he's always been. Yeah. The party,
the world has moved around him.
The party has moved, and it has made him look like he has moved when in reality he has been standing in the same place the whole time.
Yeah, he says he goes where the absurdity is. Right. And he's like, look who's absurd right now and behaving outrageously. Both parties.
He's no fan of the Republicans. I like Bill Maher. I think he's provocative. I like a lot of his takes, but he's no fan of the Republicans.
Right. No, he is definitely not a fan of the Republicans, but he's also willing to call out Democrats.
Right.
And the Democrats reaching towards the AOCs of the world, he says that is a bad move. This whole cancel culture, getting on board with that type of stuff is a bad way for the party to behave, and he calls it out.
He'll say that, and I don't think he cares if AOC likes him or doesn't like him. A lot of the people in the party, they have to listen because the squad's very powerful.
Well,
but
do you think American people do want another celebrity? Because Donald Trump, I mean, say what you will, that was an interesting.
You
hear a lot of people talking about The Rock. You do hear a lot of people talking about The Rock.
That's been another conversation.
Yeah, The Rock is such a centrist, and he is such a coalition builder. Whereas if you had Bill Maher, who are his real allies? The far left isn't going to like him because he's tag them.
Right.
Obviously, Donald Trump is a huge antagonist. You try to tack to the middle, which maybe is a silent big majority of the country, but it's a hard road to hoe to become a politician at this stage. And he's got such a good life, man.
People do like celebrities in that position. For
so let's take a quick assessment. What do you guys see as the chances if Donald Trump comes back He's the chief antagonist of Bill Maher. Bill Maher, would you
I don't
feel a
want to
sense of
think of that
responsibility
world,
to jump
Derek.
in?
I don't even want to think of that
around the
world.
corner.
I need to see. I need to see good debates. I don't want another boring politician. I mean, this is interesting.
Oh, it would be a lot of from a strictly entertainment standpoint. It would be the most entertaining race ever.
Do you want the presidency to be based off an entertainment thing?
I mean,
I want to see the debates on Triller as
I'll tell you,
oh my God.
Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they would love it.
That is so sad. I
Yeah.
do not care about that.
All right, bring us around. We got the Super Bowl coming up. Give us a football story.
You guys said the Super Bowl this is going to be so
Super Bowl's
exciting.
only
I
days
cannot
away
wait for this weekend.
in our city in LA. This is something that happened at the Pro Bowl. So there is a star football player, Alvin Kamara, Saints running back.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pro Bowl last weekend in Las Vegas. So Alvin Kamara allegedly goes out Friday night into Saturday morning and gets into a fight with some guy outside of an elevator. So, right. So Alvin Kamara was allegedly partying in a club. They're leaving, gets into a fight, pushes some guy, and this guy, according to police, winds up with a broken orbital bone, so a broken face. Police investigate. Right. So this is now Saturday morning. Well, fast forward 24 hours. Sunday, it's the Pro Bowl. Police, they know at this point that Alvin Kamara is a suspect because they've looked at surveillance video, right? So the police, Las Vegas Metro Police Department, calls the NFL security specifically, and says, hey, Alvin Kamara is a suspect. We'd like to come talk to him. He's already at the stadium. He's at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is not some fringe player.
No, he's not a fringe player. He's a stud.
Yes.
Right. He is a great player. He was playing in the Pro Bowl, and he did play in the Pro Bowl. So police, and he was ultimately arrested on a felony charge. They let him play, and there was some agreement that then Alvin would then talk to police after the game. He wasn't going to try and run away or anything. But the bottom line is, at 10 a.m. they make that call. The Pro Bowl is not till 5 hours later, and Alvin Kamara plays in the Pro Bowl. He catches 4 passes for 23 yards, and then afterwards they Mirandize him. They read him his rights, and they talk to him
on his good game.
Yeah,
still in his
good game. Turn around, put your hands behind your back, and they arrest him.
Someone had money on this game. I feel how did that happen?
We're just kidding. Just kidding.
I know.
So it's easy to see this as like celebrity justice, him getting some sort of special treatment. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and sometimes when there's like big mobsters, they arrange to bring them in. They say, could you come in at this point in time? Because the cops don't want a scene. You don't want to go in and barge down doors.
But how would that be a scene if they just went in?
I think you're at the Pro Bowl, so you got cops coming on the field.
And maybe not even
for 5 hours. They had a lot of time.
Maybe not even so much a scene on site there, but then how do the announcers tell people where Alvin Kamara is? Alvin Kamara, you're supposed to be here today, but he's in jail now.
But doesn't it look way worse to the cops that they gave him the privilege and let him play in the game?
Yeah, imagine if you're
it's
the guy.
and I'll say this. It's a double-edged sword. Arrest him.
And here's what I should say this too.
This guy has an orbital bone broken.
No, I know. And listen to what they say.
You are right.
And here's what they say Kamara did. So they sit down, they talk to Kamara. Kamara says, I heard the guy say something disrespectful to someone in my group, so I hit him, and I think I hit him 1 time. Cops say when they watched the video that he punched the guy at least 8 times.
What?
So, and there were other people with him. Apparently, they were also stomping the guy. So the guy was, again, broken face.
The guy was probably in a hospital room looking up at the TV
watching
that guy is
How do you watch
That's
that video and
insane.
not arrest someone immediately and let them go play in a Pro Bowl?
I think you're right.
times.
That's the awkwardness for them. Is this wasn't a petty offense. This wasn't a guy with a parking ticket. This is a serious beatdown that is captured on video.
Right.
And they're saying, hey, we want to see how he performs in the game first. It does
so they're looking at could be
awkward.
5 years in prison. Look at the statute.
So this is on then Vegas police, or is this on the NFL for not being giving up their guy?
Look, I don't think it's on the NFL at all. The NFL wants to protect its league's reputation.
Right?
It's kind of on the cops to say, your league and its reputation is not our concern. Our concern is public safety, and we need to go in and arrest this guy. This stuff is common, and I think when you see it in a story like this, it stops you in your tracks. Because this is Now, look, these are allegations, though. Sure. Alvin Kamara is going to have a host of defenses. He might say self-defense. He might say the guy swung first.
He's got a good attorney, too.
He's got a great attorney. The video is going to be a problem for him because this is captured on video. So when you say it's self-defense, it better look like self-defense when you see that video.
Right.
So this is not going away. He may face serious consequences for this. This is not a typical, mutual combat situation. This is a felony battery charge.
Is the guy still in the hospital? Do we know?
Not sure. This happened a few days ago now. But look, bottom line, seriously here, and I know we've got to go, but there's also a conversation now being had about, was it a mistake for the NFL to come to Las Vegas?
Wait,
you've got
why?
a lot of
Interesting.
You've had a lot of people.
Because
You've had Henry Ruggs. You've had Nate Hobbs. There have been a lot of arrests.
That's a good broader
right.
conversation though, because
Yeah.
these were the kinds of things we were asking when most of the questions were, should we go to Vegas because there's gambling?
Right.
Are we gonna
Right.
introduce too much gambling to the sport because it's right next door?
Right.
But I didn't necessarily
Right.
think about these types
It's
of
the
issues.
party.
Where it's the party.
Right.
It's the clubbing.
Right.
It's the lots of alcohol that leads to this sort of shenanigans.
You have these
This
world
is a big
class
concern.
clubs, and how do you not go? You're young. You're wealthy.
Well, yeah,
I get it.
There was an issue at the Pro Bowl
You
this
can't
year.
blame
There was
the city on people's self-control.
There's a lot of desire.
Look, it's called
right.
Sin City for a reason.
There was.
I love how you say Sin City like you've experienced Sin
Look,
City.
is it easier to be good in
I
Cincinnati?
go to go on the indoor roller coaster.
How dare you speak
Yeah,
of
that's
Cincinnati
fair.
like
That's
that when
fair.
they're coming to this
No, I'm just
city
saying.
this weekend?
Is it
That's
easier to
not-
be good?
Who are you going
Jay-
for if you don't say Cincinnati?
I'm rooting. I'm rooting for the Bengals.
Oh,
I'm
that's
just saying.
that
It's a
actually
lot
kinda makes
easier
me
to
nervous.
behave in Cincinnati than Las Vegas.
That is not
That
true.
is a-
Speaking of
I
someone
think
who's never been to
J.R.
Cincinnati.
Smith said that about Cleveland.
Right.
He's like, I'm getting out of New York. I'm going to Cleveland. 'Cause
Right.
That's
No,
How dare you guys speak of Ohio like this? It is a very
All right. We all say
Whatever.
Cincinnati when we're around Courtney.
Yeah.
The Rams when we're not.
Whatever.
All right. That'll do it for us. So get your podcast wherever you can download podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, other places.
Derek has been waiting to do that for so long. He's been so excited to do that.
See you guys next time.
Bye.